All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the September 2025 5 Miles from Anywhere meeting. Can you believe it? Okay, we are over 5 years old now. It's so cool. Yay. Um, we will today, our guest is going to be Hal Glatzer. We're going to watch a little bit of the musicale in Mrs. Hudson's Parlor, which is a lot of fun. We'll probably end up watching about I would guess 20 minutes or so of it. The whole thing's about 40 minutes long. And so, what I will do is, after we are done, I will make sure you all have access. I'll send the link out because Hal was gracious enough when he finished producing this and putting it on in January. Um, he was gracious enough to put it on his YouTube channel. So, that's what we'll be watching it from. Um, and it'll be a really delightful way to spend the day. I'll be honest, it's so fun. Okay, so without further ado, let me get let's share. Yep. And here we are. Okay. All right. So a couple of things. And I don't have too much today, but our agenda is we'll start with our announcements. Then Hal will give a little talk about the musicale. Then we'll watch some of it. And then we'll have some discussion. You can ask some questions. I've got questions for him too, I told him. It's a delightful little musical, though. I think you'll appreciate it. Okay. For announcements. Two things that I announced last time, the Homes in the Heartland conference. I had said I would keep announcing this one is coming up next year. And if you have questions, you can contact Rob Nunn about it. But it's going to be next summer and in St. Louis, and he always has a great set of great conference going on, great speakers, great activities, and hopefully I can make it next year too. And then in October next year, it's always 1895, the Vincent Starrett Conference in Chicago. So that's also coming up. And then I just wanted to toss out here. And I'm glad Margie's on and Steve's on because Sydney Passengers it was Sunday in Sydney. It was Saturday for America, Saturday evening. But the Sydney Passengers, the participants or some of the writers for Sherlock Holmes Into the Fire were invited to speak to the Sydney Passengers. Margie did a great job interviewing us. And when that is up on their YouTube channel, I will send the link out. It was a lot of fun. And kudos to the speakers who were in England and London who had woken up at like 5 a.m. to speak. So that was cool. And also kudos and thank you to Steve Mason. I realized when I spoke for the Sydney Passengers that I had had enough participants online to join the Legion of Zoom. And if anyone else is interested, since you guys do a lot of the online Sherlock Holmes groups, if you go to 17 different ones, you can join and you can check the Sherlockian calendar. There's still a ton of online Sherlock Holmes meeting groups throughout the world. And I'd recommend it's cool to have it, but it's really cool just to join lots of different groups and meet lots of other cool Sherlockians. And on that note, I'm going to stop sharing because, like I said, I didn't have too many announcements today, but you guys sometimes have announcements to share out. And so I would like to pause and give you a chance to share. Does anybody have any announcements? You can just unmute and shout them out. All right. I don't think we do today. I guess the other thing I would announce is Brian and I's publishing company, Belanger Books, just turned 10 years old. So that was really cool. Um, and so, yeah, thank you to us. Okay.
Hey,
So,
Derek. Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry, Derek.
no,
Sorry
go
to
ahead,
interrupt.
Micah. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you. I was trying to unmute and thank you for your patience. I wrote a play And if you would like to read it, I will include my email address. We've had three Sherlockians read it and say something nice about it. So if you want to read the script that everyone's talking about, and when I say everyone, I mean at least three people. Let me know, and I would love to send it to you. We're just looking for quotes that we can use for promotion. Thank you for taking my call, long time listener, first time caller. Thanks for taking my call, Derek. I appreciate it. And thanks for doing this, guys. Appreciate it.
Uh, and Micah, send if you want, you can put your email in the chat, but I can send it out too. Because a lot of
Ooh,
readers who tend to, a lot of us tend to like reading material, especially Sherlock Holmes plays. So that sounds wonderful. Thank you very
thank you,
much.
Derek.
And we'll have
Thank
to
you,
have
Derek.
you on talking about the play at some point, huh? That'd be
I would
great.
love that.
Yeah, that'd be
Let me know.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you, Derek.
Any other announcements for the good of the cause? All right. Well, let's get in to why we are here. Let me share my screen again. Okay. Oops. All right. So here's our man of the hour for today. Author and musician Hal Glatzer is active in several Sherlock Holmes Science Societies of Enthusiasts. During the pandemic, he wrote five Sherlock Holmes pastiche in the style of Arthur Conan Doyle, all of which were published in UK anthologies. He subsequently published them together in the anthology The Sign of Five, which I highly recommend. It's a really fun collection of stories. Hal was born and raised in Manhattan and went to school in the Bronx, got his BA from Syracuse, and then a master's at the University of Hawaii in communications. But his writing career began in daily journalism. As a newspaper and television reporter in the 1970s, he found his ideal beat covering the Silicon Revolution, the rise of communication satellites, small computers, and other personal electronic devices. Um, and he stayed on the high-tech beat until the mid-90s when, ironically, the internet killed the market for computer magazines. But he got his first mystery novel out of the beat, The Trapdoor, about a hacker who gets in trouble hacking for organized crime, which was published in 1986. When Glatzer is not working as an author, he works as a musician, playing jazz guitar and singing the Great American Songbook from Tin Pan Alley and Broadway. And you'll see and hear that connection to the Great American Songbook, maybe a little earlier than the Great American Songbook today, as we review some of Hal's wonderful review, A Musicale in Mrs. Hudson's Parlor. So let's give a warm virtual welcome to Hal Glatzer. Hal, do you want to say a few words about the musical before we watch some of it?
Sure. It was an idea that had been gestating for many years. I wanted to do a parlor entertainment of songs of the late Victorian, early Edwardian ages that were Holmes and Watson's lifespans. Um, and I wanted a hook, and so I found the hook. I accept January 1854 as Holmes's birth date, and so I decided to make a 60th birthday for him, which Watson will explain at the beginning of the program. It also gave me a chance to flex some musical muscles that I don't usually perform. Nearly everything in this musicale predates the music that I generally do as a musician, which is not to say modern stuff. It's music of the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. So really just after the Holmes and Watson era. But this was an opportunity for me to look back. And one of the pieces, I don't know if we'll get to watch it today, is a poem from 1888 that I memorized a very long time ago. And to be perfectly blunt, I've been looking for an opportunity to perform it. And this fit very neatly into the schema of the musicale in Mrs. Hudson's Parlor.
And which poem is it that you
It's
mentioned?
called The Duet by
Oh,
Ella
yes.
Wheeler Wilcox.
Well, we can probably fast forward to fit that in if you'd like when we get to it. Okay. It's a really nice poem. In fact, the two poems in it are quite good. One of the other poems, which we will get to definitely watch today, is Back to His Native Strand by P.G. Wodehouse, which is this wonderful Holmesian poem. And it's really cool the way your company puts it together. So no spoilers, though. You guys will get to see it. It's okay. Uh, and I understand you said when we were just chatting earlier that you will have another performance this year at the BSI Weekend.
Yes, I've reserved the same place, the Salmagundi Club, where my club, the Coffee House, is in residence, at 47 Fifth Avenue, at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, January 7. I will put on, in old-time radio style, a mystery that I call Sherlock Holmes and the Nefarious Baron, which, in a nod to the Belanger brothers, is my adaptation, my scripting of a short story that I wrote for their anthology, The Nefarious Villains of Sherlock Holmes. And like all good radio plays, it will run about 47, 48 minutes.
Should be a lot of fun, and I look forward to going in. I have not got my plane tickets yet, so I'm really hoping this year to make it to that. That
I
sounds
hope so
wonderful.
too.
Yeah. All right. So let's have some fun. Let's sit back. If you have some virtual popcorn or real popcorn, you might want to pop some. It'll be fun to watch a little bit and enjoy the music. The music in this is quite good, and we'll talk a little bit more. I keep like hyping it up, so let's just enjoy it. And then in about watch about 20 minutes or so, we'll pause and we'll have some Q&A about it, and just enjoy. The performances are wonderful. So here we are. Here we go. And- okay.
Welcome, friends and strangers. Some of you have met me before, but I am Mrs. Hudson, and for several years I was landlady here in Baker Street. To two remarkable gentlemen, a few weeks ago, Dr. Watson asked me if I would permit him to host a birthday celebration for Mr. Holmes here in my parlor. I was, of course, delighted. Now I should let Dr. Watson take the floor.
Thank you, and I am delighted, too, to see so many people here on this January day in 1914 to help celebrate the 60th birthday of my dear friend. But Sherlock Holmes disdains any sort of public adulation. He has sent me a letter. My dear Watson, please forgive my absence from what I am sure will be an effusive and unnecessary display of gratitude. At the behest of my brother Mycroft, and hence His Majesty's government, I am on the continent, scuttling like a crab between Paris and Berlin, St. Petersburg and Vienna, attempting to deduce whether the alliances will seek arbitration and a peaceful resolution of disputes or plunge Europe into war. Obviously, this endeavor of mine must take precedence over something so trivial as a birthday party, even or especially my own. Very truly yours, Sherlock Holmes. Nevertheless, I have invited some of his clients and other people in his orbit to perform a song or two that would perhaps echo their experiences with my illustrious friend. Of course, their adventures were not exactly comedic, but I am pleased to say that in the spirit of the occasion, they have come prepared with popular songs from the theater and the music hall stage. Before we begin the entertainments, however, please rise and join in the singing of God Save the King. God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. God save the King. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King. Thank you. You may be seated. I would like to mention here, too, that the gramophone company has graciously provided us with a reproducing apparatus so that when Holmes returns to London, he will be able to hear this musicale for himself. But I am informed by the gramophone company that the best fidelity of sound will be obtained if only the performers and not the audience are singing. Now, to begin the musicale, please welcome Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard.
Thank you, Dr. Watson. You have in your stories made rather a caricature of me as a gloomy, unpleasant sort of man. So, they will be surprised to discover that I have a sense of humor. Ha ha! And in particular, that I can laugh at my own profession. Like many members of the Metropolitan Police Force, I am fond of a song that pokes fun at the constabulary. When a felon's not engaged in his employment, or maturing his felonious little plans, his capacity for innocent enjoyment, is just as great as any honest man. Our feelings we with difficulty smother, when constabulary duties to be done. Take one consideration with another. Policeman's lot is not a happy one. When constabulary duties to be done. A policeman's lot is not a happy one. When an enterprising burglar's not a burgling. When the cutthroat isn't occupied in crime. He loves to hear the little brook a-gurgling. And listen to the merry village chime. When the coster's finished jumping on his mother. He loves to lie basking in the sun. Take one consideration with another. A policeman's lot is not a happy one. When constabulary duties to be done. Policeman's lot is not a happy one.
Thanks to Holmes's intervention, Miss Violet Smith has quite gotten over the anxiety of being pursued by a solitary cyclist and forced at gunpoint into a sham marriage. The man to whom she was actually engaged is an electrical engineer from Coventry, to whom Violet Smith is now happily married. So please welcome Mr. Cyril Morton.
My darling Violet had a frightening experience indeed, Dr. Watson, but she and I continue to enjoy cycling together. There is a flower within my heart, Daisy, Daisy, planted one day by a glancing dart, planted by Daisy Bell. Whether she loves me or loves me not, sometimes it's hard to tell. Yet I am longing to share the lot of beautiful Daisy Bell. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer, do. I'm half crazy, oh, for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage, I can't afford a carriage, but you'll look sweet up on the seat of a bicycle built for two. We will go tandem as man and wife, Daisy, Daisy, pedaling our way down the road of life, I and my Daisy Bell. When the road's dark we shall both despise policemen and lamps as well. There are bright lights in the dazzling eyes of beautiful Daisy Bell. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer, do. I'm half crazy, oh, for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage, I can't afford a carriage, but you'll look sweet up on the seat of a bicycle built for two. I will stand by you in weal or woe, Daisy, Daisy, you'll be the bell which I'll ring, you know, sweet little Daisy Bell. You'll take the lead in each trip we take, and if I don't do well, I shall permit you to use the brake, my beautiful Daisy Bell. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer, do. I'm half crazy, oh, for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage, I can't afford a carriage, but you look sweet up on the seat of a bicycle built for two.
I reached out to a certain adventuress, and she did not disappoint me. Please welcome Mrs. Irene Norton, née Adler.
I was initially reluctant to accept Dr. Watson's invitation, feeling that Mr. Holmes would not welcome a woman who got the better of him and his client, the King of Bohemia. But here I am, delighted to perform a song that celebrates the independence that a woman of the world can achieve, even at the risk of being considered risque. A smart and stylish girl, you see, belle of good society, not too strict but rather free, yet as right can be. Not too timid, not too bold, not too hot and not too cold, not too young and not too old, just the kind for sport I'm told. Ta-ra! Papa says a big expense. Old maids say I have no sense. Boys declare I'm just immense. Before my song I do conclude, I want it strictly understood. The fond of fun, I'm never rude. Though not too bad, I'm not too good. Ta-ra-ra-boom-dee, 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 ta-ra-ra-boom-dee.
And now, please, welcome Mr. Henry Baker.
Thank you, Doctor. I'm a bit nervous. It was my lost hat that led Mr. Holmes to recover the stolen blue carbuncle. So, I think it is appropriate for me to perform this little ditty. Now, how I came to get this hat is really rather funny. Grandfather died and left to me his property and money. And when the will it was read out, they told me straight and flat, if you would have his money, you have got to wear his hat. Ah, where did I get that hat? Where did you get that hat? Isn't that a knobby thing and just the proper style? I would like to have one just the same as that. Wherever I go, they start, hello, where did you get that hat? At 21, I thought I would to my sweetheart get married. People in the neighborhood thought we too long had tarried, and so right quick we went to church, as happy as you can. And when I got there momently, the papa said, "Yo, man, where did you get that hat? Where did you get that tile? Isn't it a noble thing and just the proper style? I should like to have one just the same as that. Wherever I go, they shout, hello! Where did you get that hat?"
Regarding Holmes's cases, it has frequently been brought to my attention that some persons attribute their authorship to another doctor, an ophthalmologist by trade who served in the medical corps during the Boer War and who has written a few, I must admit, well-received stories and novels. And because he is better known than I, Dr. Arthur Conan Doyle has occasionally represented me to publishers as a de facto literary agent. So when I wrote The Final Problem, assuming Holmes was dead, and then when I described his return from a 6-year sojourn abroad, the public naturally assumed that Dr. Doyle was responsible for this news. It was not surprising, therefore, that in 1903, a rising young humorist, Mr. Pelham Grenville Woodhouse, satirized Holmes's return in a bit of light verse, which he titled "Back to His Native Strand." Oh, Sherlock Holmes lay hidden more than half a dozen years. He left his loving London in a whirl of doubts and fears, for we thought a wicked party of the name of Moriarty had dispatched him in a manner fit to freeze one.
They grappled on a cliff top on a ledge 6 inches wide. We deemed his chances flimsy when he vanished o'er the side. But the very latest news is that he merely got some bruises. If there's a man who's hard to kill, why, he's one.
Oh, Sherlock, Sherlock, he's in town again. That prince of perspicacity, that monument of brain. It seems he wasn't hurt at all by tumbling down that waterfall. That sort of thing is fun to Sherlock.
When Sherlock left his native Strand, such groans were seldom heard. With sobs the public's frame was rent, with tears its eyes were blurred. But the optimist reflected that he might be resurrected. It formed our only theme of conversation.
We asked each other, would he be, and if so, how and where? We went about our duties with a less dejected air. And they say that the suggestion of a parliamentary question was received with marked approval by the nation.
And Sherlock, he's in town again. Sir Conan has discovered him and offers to explain. The explanation may be thin, but bless you, we don't care a pin if he'll but give us back our Sherlock.
The burglar groans and lays aside his jemmy keys and drill. The enterprising murderer proceeds to write his will. The fraud-promoting jobber feels that those who rob the felon finds no balm in his employment.
The forger and the swindler start up shrieking in their sleep. No longer on his mother does the coster gaily leap. The mile-end sportsman ceases to kick passers-by to pieces, or does it with diminishing enjoyment.
For Sherlock, he's in town again. That prince of perspicacity, that monument of brain.
The world of crime has got the blues, for Sherlock's back and after clues.
And everything's a clue to Sherlock. You all know.
We're going to pause for just a second, my friends. Give me 1 sec to pause this. Okay. Wait. There we are. All right. I just want to thank, first of all, another virtual round of applause for that lovely, those performances. And man, you got some pretty decent, huge actors in this too. I mean, Stephen Mohannan as Inspector Lestrade is pretty impressive. How did you compile this group together, Hal?
Well, one of them, Kathy Frankovic, who you haven't heard her solos yet. She's my wife, and also a talented Gilbert and Sullivan performer. The woman who you saw do Irene Adler, it was in my play last year, the Flatfinders 1881, playing the real estate agent that shows Holmes and Watson, who have just met, some prospective flats in London. Steve Hannon, Mo Hannon, has been a friend of my wife's since they were teenagers. Mo unfortunately died subsequent to this production. He was given a brief moment in the memorial section of the Tony Awards. We were all really quite, we were really a quite fun-loving group. Nancy, who plays Mrs. Hudson and plays the piano in the parlor, has also been a friend of my wife and me for many years, and another stalwart member of the Coffee House Club, our club.
Wow. I mean, yeah, you have some this is a very talented cast, and Yeah, when I saw Stephen Hannon on here, I recall in April when he passed away, just because he was so big and influential in Cats. He was one of the big performers in that musical, and
He was one of
that,
the original performers
yes,
in Cats. Yes.
yeah. So I mean, and his voice was just so perfect, especially for Henry Baker. It's just like what a perfect Henry Baker. I was very impressed
I
with that.
wanted links. I wanted recognizable links to people. The Hat, Inspector Lestrade. What would Irene Adler do? Well, she'd do a boisterous upscale. I mean, she's ostensibly an opera singer. Doesn't matter. In a parlor, she would let the ribbons loose a little bit from her coif and give us something a little more risque.
I would agree with you on that. So how did you choose the songs in particular? Like you seem to have a very clear vision for this particular musical or musicale. How did you decide like I definitely want this Gilbert and Sullivan piece to fit this particular one?
Oh, I think right up through the lifespan of Holmes and Watson, Gilbert and Sullivan were the big thing, were the big dogs of the English musical theater. There are rivals, there are plenty of other things. There are certainly many more serious pieces, but I think the world of the London stage, to a very large extent, was dominated by the Savoy Opera Company. And another of my pastiches in The Sign of Five has Richard Doyley Carte and his wife Helen Lenoir Carte consulting Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson to help them solve a problem of sabotage in the run-up to what is anyway my favorite of the Savoy operas, The Yeoman of the Guard.
Nice. And I don't want to hog all the questions. If you guys have questions for Hal, please use the raise hand feature, or you can just shout something out. Just say, "Hey, I've got a question," and I'm happy to call on you. Um, while people are gathering their thoughts, just I really enjoyed. I can't help but sing along to Daisy Bell in this particular one. I always think and this is might sound a little weird, but I always think of Hal in 2001 because that's what he sings that as he's losing his mind at the end. But it's such a wonderful, happy piece as is Tara Boom Da. Another really nice choice
What's
there.
what's important about those for the purposes of this production is that sure, everybody knows Tarara Boomdia. If you saw the Howdy Doody show growing up like I did, that was the theme music. Everybody has sung Daisy Bell, The Bicycle Built for Two. There are parodies of it, but there are verses in the original. It's a little love song of this young man to his young woman. And we forget that these were the hits of the day. These were, you heard them in street organs, you heard them on music hall stages. Before there were extensive recordings, you had to hear these things live, and they absolutely would have been performed with their verses. And I think we tend to forget these things that have passed long ago into the public domain, that these were all songs of an era that is very nostalgic for us in the Holmes milieu.
Yes, I agree completely. Um, Anybody else have a question before I ask another? Oh,
I
Anna.
wanted to make a comment. First of all, Hal, well done. It was really enjoyable, and I look forward to seeing the rest of it too. Um, I just wanted to say about Tarara Boomdier, because I do, along with Stephanie Corey, the Lizzie Borden podcast, but the doggerel Lizzie Borden took in acts is supposed to be said to Tarara Boomdier, that tune. So,
Gordon
of
took
course,
an axe,
when she
gave her
was
mother 40 whacks like that.
like that,
Interesting.
that's how it was done originally. So, of course, that's what I was thinking when I was listening to the song. But thanks, it was fun.
Thank you, Alan.
Anybody else? Anybody else have a question or a comment for Hal? I wanted to ask you about you because not only do you have songs, but as you said, you have two poems, and I will make sure we pause in a couple minutes to listen to duet because I think that's important the way you introduced it. But the Wodehouse poem in particular, that was the last piece we heard there, and that's from like Woodhouse's like his Sherlockian year, right? Because he did two Sherlockian poems and did two parodies that particular year. What made you choose that? I mean, it's a lovely poem. Maybe I'm answering my question myself, but what made you decide to take that and actually kind of break it up and make it choral, the way you
Well,
have it?
I think it's appropriate when you do a musicale in someone's parlor. You want variety. You want it lent itself so neatly to a choral interpretation, giving individual lines to people and coming in on what basically is a chorus. It just lent itself. In the publication in which it appeared, of which I've only seen a facsimile, there is a line that it is to be sung to the tune of, and I'm forgetting what it is, but it must have been a well-known tune at the time, probably from a show, from a review or a musical that everybody, quote unquote, in London would have recognized. And so, since I did not have that piece of music, uh, if I did, I probably would have tried to arrange it, but it's enough already just to do it as a choral piece. And it's hilarious. And it's P.G. Woodhouse. This is avant la lettre. This is before Jeeves and Wooster make their appearance on the world stage. This is while he's still a rising young man in the world. I mean, Oscar Wilde has just died, and Woodhouse is very nicely positioned to take up some of the mantle that Wilde had left dangling.
Yes, yeah, very cool. I didn't even think of that transition, and that makes perfect sense. Susan Dallinger has a question for you, and then we'll get back to the musical. Susan, you're on.
Thank you. I'm sorry for joining you so late. I hated missing that. Um, How the music for that last number actually is extant. I had a copy of that at one point, and I'll see if I can find you another one.
Oh, I'd appreciate that very much. Thank you. It would be fun to work it up as a song.
It's cute. Sometime when we're together, I'll sing it for you.
Oh, please. Thank you. Yes, yes. Woodhouse has a flair for lyrics
Oh
that
yeah.
he was, as you may know, some of you may know, 10 years later in the 19 teens, he was collaborating with on the New York stage. He was writing musicals with Jerome Kern and another humorist. He has a remarkable career. And again, it's just before we get the Jeeves and Wooster era, when he's really kind of looking back to the beginning of the 20th century. He makes no bones about these are not modern men when you read the stories. These are men of the pre-World War I era, when social conventions were much more formalized.
If you look at the lyrics for Bill from Showboat, which he wrote,
Yes.
and just read them straight, it's funny.
Oh, yes.
It's only when it got into context that it became tragic.
Yes. Well, Kern and Oscar Hammerstein, who wrote the lyrics for Showboat the musical, basically paid Woodhouse a small amount of money for the rights to use the song that he had written. The original version of Bill is really about a dollar bill. And they, of course, just wanted to make it more of a torchy song in Showboat. But they felt that they needed to sign on, say thank you to Woodhouse for his earlier contribution.
All right, I'm gonna pause the conversation because I do want to make sure, and I queued it up. that we get to hear the duet. And then we will hear When Britain Really Ruled the Waves, which is the last two pieces of it. We did skip a chunk of this, so I do highly recommend everyone goes back and watches. So this will be about, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes, and then we might have a bit to wrap up at the end. But I do want to make sure we get this in just because you really got us excited for the duet.
Thank you. I'll preface. I have my own preface in Watson's voice, but you should probably know that I have known this song since I was a very small boy. Cyril Ritchard, who was the original Captain Hook to Mary Martin's Peter Pan, released a 10-inch LP that my mother bought for me after we had gone to see Peter Pan. And the LP was called Odd Songs and a Poem. From the 50s, the cover art by Edward Gorey. And the poem among the odd songs, the poem was this poem. And I was so moved by it long before I was old enough to really grasp how potent it was, that I learned it, and I've known it all my life, quote unquote. And so I hope you enjoy it too. Ella Wheeler Wilcox was a popular poet, not a lyric poet, not a fancy poet. She's credited with the expression, laugh and the world laughs with you, weep and you weep alone, from a different poem.
Excellent. All right, without further ado, here we go. Just make sure everything's still set up. Perfect.
Among the letters of invitation that I broadcast widely, a reply came from, well, let me just say that none of you would be here today if it were not for young Stamford, who in 1881 introduced me to Sherlock Holmes. As he is now considerably older, Stamford, he is regrettably unable to travel and join us today. But we have been speaking over the telephone, reminiscing and recalling the days of our youth when we were students. And so, in his honor, I shall recite a poem which evokes those bygone days. The Duet by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. I was smoking a cigarette. Maud, my wife, and the tenor McKee were singing together a blithe duet, and days it were better I should forget came suddenly back to me. Days when life seemed a gay masked ball, and to love and be loved was the sum of it all. As they sang together, the whole scene fled. The room's rich hangings, the sweet home air, stately Maud with her proud blonde head, and I seemed to see in her place instead a wealth of blue-black hair and a face, yours, Lizette. Face it were wiser I should forget. We were back, well, no matter when or where, but you remember, I know, Lizette. I saw you, dainty and debonair, with the very same look that you used to wear in the days I should forget. And your lips, as red as the vintage we quaffed, were pearl-edged bumpers of wine when you laughed. 2 small slippers with big rosettes peeped out from under your kilt skirt there as we sat smoking our cigarettes. Ah, I shall be dust when my heart forgets, and singing together that same air. And between the verses, for interlude, I kissed your throat and shoulders nude. Oh, you were so full of a subtle fire. You were so warm and so sweet. Lizette, you were everything that men admire. We had no fetters to make us tire. Oh, you were a pretty grisette. But you loved as only such natures can, with a love that makes heaven and hell for a man. They have ceased singing that old duet, Stately Maud and the tenor McKee. You are burning your coat with your cigarette, and qu'avez-vous, dearest, your lids are wet, Maud says, as she leans over me. And I smile and lie to her, husband-wise. Oh, it is nothing but smoke in my eyes. When I was corresponding with Mrs. Norton, she asked if I intended to invite her erstwhile antagonist. I did, yes, invite him, though I never expected him to appear or even reply. But imagine my surprise when a letter arrived from Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigismund von Ormstein, the hereditary king of Bohemia. I shall read you his letter. Herr Doctor, your invitation we must decline. However, we believe a patriotic sentiment is wanted, a patriotic ballad cut and dried. We would have a song of admiration for the exalted monarchs of the British Empire. And if we should ever permit the creation of a parliament in Bohemia, we would have it filled with men like the hereditary peers in Britain's House of Lords. It would please us to know you included a song of praise for those noble men as well. Well, I think this song will satisfy His Majesty and at the same time give his nose a tweak. When Britain really ruled the waves in good Queen Bess's time, the House of Peers made no pretense to intellectual eminence or scholarship sublime. Yet Britain won her proudest bays in good Queen Bess's glorious days. Yes, Britain won her proudest bays in good Queen Bess's glorious days. Yes, Britain won her proudest days in good Queen Bess's glorious days. When Wellington thrashed Bonaparte, as every child can tell, the House of Peers throughout the war did nothing in particular and did it very well. Yet Britain set the world ablaze in good King George's glorious days. Yes, Britain set the world ablaze in good King George's glorious days. Yes, Britain set the world ablaze in good King George's glorious days. And when the House of Peers withholds its legislative hand, and noble statesmen do not itch to interfere in matters which they do not understand, as bright will shine Great Britain's rays as in King George's glorious days. As bright will shine Great Britain's rays as in King George's glorious days. As bright will shine Great Britain's rays as in King George's glorious days.
All right, another Round of applause. I know some people, yeah, I knew some people were going to be leaving for the bootmakers meeting. Thank you so much, Hal, for being here. The poem was wonderful. As was just this full performance was just wonderful. And really looking forward to your next piece during BSI Weekend. Could you say the details again for that one?
Yes, Wednesday, the 7th of January, 4 o'clock. You'll get, I'm sure, plenty of news about this. It will be the same place these last two productions were done, the Salmagundi Club / Coffee House Club on 47 Fifth Avenue, the last brownstone mansion surviving on Fifth Avenue in New York. I've just posted in the credits the time code for all of the pieces, each segment, and Derek will supply the URL for the YouTube from which you saw the broadcast.
I certainly will. And really, guys, you really should go back and watch the whole thing. It's wonderful that, like you can see here, we're out of time. And so I squeezed in as much of it as I possibly could.
And thank you very much, Derek. You did a marvelous job. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Well, you made my job easy, so I appreciate that. Also, please give our regards, our kind regards to your wife as well for her wonderful performance in this piece, as well as the rest of the cast. And I look forward to seeing you in New York, Hal, in
Likewise.
January. And for everybody else, we will be back the first weekend of October, and it'll be kind of a fun one. We'll have not an author, but a dioramist. Tiger Daniels is going to show us some of the dioramas that they make. And they make these really cool, like little Sherlockian diorama worlds. And actually made a specific one for 5 Miles from Anywhere. So we will see that in October. And everybody, please also check out Hal's writing as well, not just his performances, but his books. His writing's excellent. He's got that one Sherlock Holmes book, as well as a number of other thrillers. And really,
HalGlatzer.com.
Yes, HalGlatzer.com. And again, I will share that as well. But we are out of time, my friends. Enjoy. If you're heading to the Bootmakers, go there. I'm heading to the Dragon Boat Festival in Denver, so it should be fun. But take care, everyone, and I will see you next month. Take care.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.